All praises. Okay. Shalom, Israel. Most and Christ bless you all. I'm blaming the IT team for this behavior. Okay. John 8:32. Read that for me.
Yes, sir. The book of John, chapter 8, verse 32.
Read.
And ye shall know the truth,
And you shall know the truth,
and the truth shall make you free.
and the truth shall make you free. So our people don't know what the truth is. That's why as a people, we are still slaves. We are not free yet. Okay? Give me that in Baruch, chapter 3. We are not free. Do you have the Apocrypha? Excellent. Yeah, go to the Apocrypha. Baruch 3. Baruch chapter 3. Read that for me.
Yes, sir.
We are yet this day in our captivity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, read it. Baruch 3 and 8.
The book of Baruch, chapter 3, verse 8.
Come on.
Behold,
Uh-huh.
we are yet this day in our captivity.
We are yet this day in our captivity, because unto this day, 2025, we are still in captivity. We are still in slavery. Okay, we're still at the bottom of all nations. We are being oppressed. Go ahead.
Where thou hast scattered us.
Where the Lord has scattered us through colonization, forced migration, and apartheid, slavery. Go ahead.
For a reproach and a curse,
Mhm.
and to be subject to payments.
And to be subject to payments. That's why we pay tax in this country. Whether it's VAT, you understand? Whether it's tax when you pay, when your money gets paid into your account, everything gets taken from you. Yes. Read.
according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God.
That's it. That's the reason why. Go back now to John 8:32 to understand that we are still slaves. We are still at the bottom. Okay, because I know many of our people that have, they are living better than the rest of us. They don't believe that they are slaves in this country. They still think everything is all good when they are free. They are not free. As a nation, we are at the bottom. You understand? Even Patrice Motsepe, he is still at the bottom because his nation is at the bottom. He cannot rise above the state of your nation. You understand? Read that again. John 8:32.
The book of John, chapter 8, verse 32.
Read.
And ye shall know the truth,
And ye shall know the truth,
and the truth shall make you free.
and the truth shall make you free. So our people must know what the truth is, because they don't know what the truth is. That's why they are lost. That's why we as a nation, we are lost. Okay, Psalms 119 verse 142. To understand that what the truth is, because our people don't know it. That's why as a nation, we are at the bottom. But our people go to politics to look for truth. They'll go to church to look for truth. And when they get to church, they teach them Christianity. They don't find truth there. You see how this works? Okay, come on, read that.
The book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 142.
Read.
Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness,
Come on.
and thy law is the truth.
What is the truth?
And thy law is the truth.
That's what the truth is. The laws of God, that's what the truth is. God's commandments. You understand? So when you hear in the churches when they are saying the laws of God are done away with, they are saying the truth is done away with. That's what they are saying. You understand? When we go to the streets and teach our people and say Jesus is a black man, they say, oh, no, color doesn't matter. You know what they are telling you? They are telling you the truth is done away with. The truth doesn't matter. That's what they are telling you. You understand? Now, go back to John 8:32. Verse 18.
The book of Romans, chapter 2, verse 18. And knowest his will.
And knoweth his will. What is the will of the Father? Give me that in Psalms 40, verse 8. Let's see what the will of the Father is. Because our people who hear what they say, I'm just doing the will of God. Let's see what the will of God is. Psalms 40 verse 8. King David went over this thing. Read that. Psalms 40 verse 8.
The book of Psalms, chapter 40, verse 8.
Read.
I delight to do thy will, O my God.
I delight to do thy will, O my God. Come on.
Yea, thy law is within my heart.
Thy law is within my heart. You see what the will of the Father is? The will of the Father is the laws of God. Read it again. Verse 8.
The book of Psalms, chapter 40, verse 8.
Come on.
I delight to do thy will, O my God.
Come on.
Yea, thy law is within my heart.
Thy law is within my heart. Now go back to Romans now 2, verse 18, one more.
The book of Romans, chapter 2, verse 18.
Come on.
And knowest his will.
And knoweth his will. So what is the will of the Father? His commandments. That's what the will of the Father is. Whenever you hear somebody says, I'm doing the will of God, ask them, what commandments are you keeping? They will tell you, the laws of God are done away with. Therefore, they are not keeping the will of the Father. You understand? Go ahead.
And approvest the things that are more excellent.
And approvest the things that are more excellent. Come on.
Being instructed out of the law.
So the things that are more excellent is when you are instructed out of God's laws. Jump down to verse 20.
Verse 20. And is an instructor of the foolish,
Read.
a teacher of babes.
Because we are babes in this truth. We are babes. That's why the Apostle John was saying little children. Because we're still young in this truth, man. We're still young to understand the wisdom of old. This Bible is older than days, Bell. In the beginning was the Word. So you understand? So the amount of information that's sitting in this book, that's why it says little children. Because we are little children. Okay? Read.
Which has the form of knowledge.
Which has the form of knowledge. That knowledge is in the form of this Bible. You understand? A collection of writings, the Bible. Read.
And of the truth in the law.
You see what the truth of God is found? In the law. And of the what?
And of the truth in the law.
And of the truth in the law. So if you're looking for the truth, you must be keeping God's commandments. So you must be checking in the law what the truth is. And of the truth in the what?
And of the truth in the law.
And of the truth in the law. So now, let's get into the topic now. We're going over unrighteous decrees. We're going to deal with the Roman Empire. Okay, we dealt with the Greeks last week. Okay, now we're going to deal with Rome and the extension of ancient Rome. Give me that in Daniel 7, verse 7.
Yes,
Daniel 7. So we are going over unrighteous decrees. As you watch the news, you see Donald Trump in Babylon the Great. They are dishing out unrighteous decrees to push nations on notice. You understand? Moab is pushing back, which is China. They are pushing back. And businesses in America also, they are saying they're going to do business outside of the U.S. That's what you are seeing. You understand? Now read that.
Yes, sir. The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 9.
Come on. Daniel 7, verse 7.
Oh, apologies, sir. The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 7.
Come on.
After this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast.
A fourth beast. So Daniel is going, the Lord is showing Daniel the empires of the earth that will come and that will be deposed, and one after another. So now this is the fourth kingdom Daniel is being told unto him. Read again.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 7.
Come on.
And after this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast.
A fourth beast. Come on.
Dreadful and terrible.
This beast, he says, it was dreadful and terrible. Come on.
And strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth.
It had great iron teeth. Great military. That's what he's going into. I'm going to explain that. Go ahead.
It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it.
It was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. Remember, we went over Babylon. We went over Greece, and we went over Media and Persia. We went over the Greek Empire. Now, Rome is taking over. This is the fourth beast now that Daniel is seeing in his vision.
And it had 10 horns.
And it had 10 horns. Now, give me the book of 2 Ezra 12 and 10 in the Apocrypha. 2 Ezra 12 verse 10. You see, our forefather, the prophet Daniel, the symbol of the fourth beast was not expounded unto him. He was not given the symbol of the fourth beast. You understand? 2 Ezra 12. Read verse 10 for me.
The second book of Ezra, chapter 12, verse 10. And he said unto me, this is the interpretation of the vision.
This is the interpretation of the vision. Go ahead.
The eagle whom thou sawest come up from the sea.
Is as the eagle whom thou sawest come up from the sea. This is not the Indian Ocean that when he's talking about the sea, is not the Atlantic Ocean, is not the Mediterranean Sea. Read that Bible again.
The second book of Ezra, chapter 12, verse 10.
Read.
And he said unto me, this is the interpretation of the vision.
Read.
The eagle whom thou sawest come up from the sea.
Read.
Is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel.
Stop right there. It says the what? It says, is the what now?
The eagle whom thou sawest.
It says the eagle whom thou see. Go ahead.
Whom thou sawest come up from the sea.
Read.
Is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel.
It says is the symbol of the beast that was given to your brother Daniel, but our forefather Daniel wasn't given the symbol of the fourth beast, but is given unto the prophet Esdras. You understand? Read that again. Read it slow for me.
Yes, sir. The second book of Ezra, chapter 12, verse 10.
Read.
And he said unto me, this is the interpretation of the vision.
Come on.
The eagle whom thou sawest come up from the sea is the kingdom which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel.
He says, is the what? is the what now?
is the symbol
Mm.
which was seen in the vision of thy brother Daniel.
Read.
But it was not expounded unto
He
him.
says, but to Daniel it wasn't expounded, and this vision was not expounded unto Daniel the prophet. Okay, come on.
Therefore, now I declare it unto
He
thee.
says, but now Esdras, I'm going to give you the interpretation of that vision that Daniel saw. Your brother Daniel didn't know the symbol of the vision, neither was the interpretation of the vision given unto him. Now the Lord says, now Esdras, I'm going to give you the interpretation of that vision. Okay? So the sea is not talking about the Mediterranean Sea. You understand? Let's get the precept. Give me that in Isaiah chapter 17 verse 12. Let's understand what is the sea talking about. He says the eagle that came from the sea. He's not talking about the actual sea or the Indian Ocean or no. It's not talking about that. Give me the book of Isaiah chapter 17 and verse 12. Read that.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 17, verse 12.
Read.
Woe to the multitude of many people
Woe to the multitude of many people, come on,
which make a noise like the noise of the sea,
which make the noise like the noise of the seas. Read.
and to the rushing of nations.
And to the rushing of what?
And to the rushing of nations.
So the people is the nations. Come on.
that make a rushing like the rushing of mighty waters.
So the sea is making reference to nations on earth. So when it says the eagle that you saw come up from the sea, it meaning is an empire that will rise out of the nations on earth, and its symbol will be the symbol of the eagle. You understand? That's what the Lord is showing us right here. Okay? Now go back to, give me Daniel now, chapter 2, verse 40. Daniel 2, verse 40. Go back to Daniel now. Daniel chapter 2.
Yes, sir. The book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 40.
Read. So Daniel now is going to explain the part of the kingdom, the fourth beast, having strong iron teeth. Okay, come on.
The book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 40.
Read.
And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron.
He says the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron. This fourth kingdom will have a great military. You understand? This fourth kingdom. Read.
For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things,
Read.
and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise.
Read.
And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay,
He says you saw the feet and toes. That's why it says the kingdom is what? It had what? It had 10 horns. The 10 horns is making reference to the EU. You understand? The main 10. So back in the day when the League of Nations was formed, that's where the EU actually, the European Union, it was started as the main 10. It's called the main 10. Now later on in life, they added more European nations to that. It's no longer the main 10. But the main 10, they are the ones that formed today what is called the EU. That's what Daniel is making reference to. Come on.
and whereas thou sawest the feet and toes,
Read.
part of potter's clay
Part of porous clay.
and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided,
The kingdom shall be divided. Come on.
but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron.
Read.
For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay,
As much as you see iron mixed with miry clay. What you want to understand is that during the time of Rome, right? You remember there's a saying, they say, when you get to Rome, you do what the Romans do. When you get there, you must follow their customs and their culture. Because the kingdom of Rome, it took over a previous kingdom. What kingdom did Rome, the Roman Empire, take over? It took over the Greek Empire. You understand? That's why today in the history is called the Greco-Roman Empire. Because when Rome took over, they swallowed the Greeks. Because the Greeks and the Roman is the same people. Edomites, a.k.a. the white man. They are the same nation. So what Greece had idols, when Rome took over, they renamed the idols under the Roman Empire. But it was still the same. You understand? So they changed the names of the idols they worshipped under the Greeks when the Romans took over. But it was still the same thing. Their gods were still the same, just that the names had changed. You understand? Because when you read about, during the Greeks, you read about Zeus. When Greece took over, Zeus is Baal. You read about Baal in the book of Samuel already. You read about Baal in the book of Genesis already, Nimrod. That's Baal. So over the years, the name of Baal was just kept changing, given different names. under the Elamites, which is the Persians, the Indians, is called Krishna. It's all the same. And now today under Christianity is Caesar Borgias, which is that white image of Jesus they give to us. That's Baal. That's the image of Baal. Their version of the image of Baal is white man Jesus. You understand? Okay, read that again. Verse 41.
The book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 41.
Come on.
And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron,
Read.
the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron.
Read.
For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
So Daniel is showing us that this fourth kingdom will be partly strong and partly broken. Let me show you with the Greeks. Give me that in 1 Maccabees 1:41. I'm going to show you when he says the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. Because the Greeks were powerful also. But I'm going to show you something with the Greek Empire. What the Romans did.
Yes, sir.
1 Maccabees 1:41. Read that.
The first book of Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 41.
Come on.
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
That all should be one people. Meaning what? It's called assimilation. You had to assimilate into Greek culture. You understand? It's called Hellenism. Read.
And everyone should leave his laws.
And everyone should leave his laws. Because when we were taken over by the Greeks, we were forced to leave our laws behind. You couldn't keep God's commandments under the Greeks. If you did, you were put to death. You couldn't confess yourself to be a Jew. If you did, you were put to death. You understand? So the Greek took away our nationality. The other nations with the Egyptians and all that, they just change our names here and there. But when the Greeks took over, they said, no, they must not confess themselves to be Jews. Okay, come on.
And everyone should leave his laws.
And everyone should leave his laws. Come on.
So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
So when the heathens came together, they were okay with Greek culture. You understand? So, but guess what? We were the ones that we had the laws with us. We had the Bible with us. So when it says everyone should leave his laws, they were targeting us in the Greek Empire. We couldn't keep the commandments under the Greeks. They forced us to assimilate into Greek culture. So now you have, that's why America today is called the melting pot. Because you have the Greeks. They had a great military might, the Greeks. You remember during that when we read about the history of Alexander, he was conquering kingdoms far and nigh. He was powerful. So now you had the great military of the Greeks, but you also had nations coming into Greece and assimilating into Greek culture. The kingdom was strong militarily, but it was weak socially. You understand that? The kingdom was powerful militarily, but it was weak socially because all other nations had to come in and assimilate into Greek culture. But because we had laws, we were forced to abandon our books. No longer follow the laws of our forefathers, but follow the laws of the Greeks. He's going to show you that. Go ahead.
Yea, many also of the Israelites.
That's it. Yea, also, many also of the Israelites, what did they do?
Consented to his religion.
They consented to his religion. We had to consent to Greek religion. What is that Greek religion? Jump up to verse 41.
Yes, sir. The first book of Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom
Read.
that all should be one people.
This is the birth of democracy in Athens. So, democracy, politics is a Greek religion. So you want to know what the religion of the Greeks is politics. So now because we are in captivity, we are lost, we are confused, we are looking for truth. You go to politics, but you don't know where it comes from. That's Greek religion. So are people using politics to rise? It's not going to work because that's the religion of the Greeks. So when the election time comes, that's when they now elect their idols. So which idol is going to represent us this election? You understand? Go ahead.
And everyone should leave his laws.
Read.
So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
Watch this. Come on.
Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion.
So it is today. So the same way because remember, the Greeks and the Romans is the same nation. They are not different people. These are all Edomites. It's just now Edomites rising up at different parts of time in history. That's why you have the Germans. You've got the Dutch. You've got the Americans. All of them rose up at different time period in history. So the same thing here with the Greeks and the Romans. They are all Edomites, but each of them have different empires they are ruling over. You understand? Go ahead.
And sacrificed unto idols.
And that's what we did. When we assimilated into Greek culture, we were forced to sacrifice unto idols. Read.
And profaned the Sabbath.
And profaned the Sabbath. That's why our people today don't observe the Sabbath, because that's where we learned it from the time of the Greeks. Go ahead.
For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah.
Read.
That they should follow the strange laws of the land.
That's it. So when we were under the Greeks, we were forced to follow the strange laws of the Greeks. When Rome took over, that was its weakness. Rome wanted to make sure that everybody who comes into Rome, they do what the Romans do. You know what I'm saying? You don't come with your own culture. That's why you see today in England, in the UK, right? You see Palestinians are flocking over there. They are saying no, even at work. There's this Edomite that was saying, how is it that these Palestinians, they go to the UK, when they get there, they want to be worshipping Allah? How do you come into somebody else's country and you are pushing Islam? That's what they were complaining about. And that's what's happening in the UK right now. They are saying there's Muslim cells in the UK and they want to shut them down. That's why you see Edomites protesting in the UK. They don't want that. You understand? They want them to leave Saudi and come to the UK and follow their customs and culture that is practiced in the UK. You get to America, you are you are expected to do the same thing. Rome was doing the same thing. Greece was doing the same thing. Okay, come on.
And forbid burnt offerings.
And they forbid burnt offerings. You see what the other nations don't do burnt offerings for sin. We do. Go ahead.
And sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple. And that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
That's why during the time, even today, the same way during the time of the Greeks, we couldn't observe the feast of the Passover and so on and so forth. Guess what? Today our people don't celebrate the Passover anymore. They celebrate Easter. Our people don't observe the feast of dedication. They celebrate Christmas. So that's why even our festival, our high holy days that are written in Leviticus 23, they say, no, don't follow that anymore. You understand? Go ahead.
And pollute the sanctuary.
And pollute the sanctuary. Come on.
And holy people.
Because we are those holy people. Go ahead.
And set up altars and groves and chapels of idols. And sacrifice swine's flesh.
And they sacrifice swine's flesh, meaning pig. Because remember, the Most High God gave us a list of animals that we can sacrifice that are clean to bring at the temple. But when the Greeks took over, our forefathers that assimilated to Greek culture, they were sacrificing swine's flesh in the temple. You understand? Go ahead.
An unclean beast.
An unclean beast. Right?
That they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation.
Right?
To the end they might forget the law.
That was the whole point. The whole point of all this was for us to forget the laws of God. That's why today our people, when you ask them, because today, just today, in fact, there was a brother I was talking to. I mean, he's a brother. He's rebellious. But he was saying to me, he says, no, the laws of God are done away with. When I was traveling with Sister Abigail, we take the young man to the clinic. He was like, no, the laws of God are done away with. Christ fulfilled the law so that we don't have to keep no laws. I'm like, what is that? Where is that in the Bible? He's like, no, but are you saying that now we must keep the commandments? I'm like, no, I'm not saying that. The Lord is saying that. I'm not saying that. The Most High God is saying that as it is written. But he didn't believe it because he was still pushing the thing of not having to discipline his life to keep the laws of God. It's very hard at first because you are too close to your sin. You're lusting, you're indulging. You understand? But it's crazy because in the world they say practice makes perfect. But when you come into this truth, you can't be perfect. How crazy is that? That's some crazy stuff. Okay, go ahead. Finish that verse 49.
That they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation.
Read.
To the end they might forget the law.
It says to the end they might forget the law. Come on.
And change all the ordinances.
And change all the ordinances. That's why today in the churches they say all nations can be saved. That's how they change the ordinances. Because these are the ordinances that God gave unto us. When they took our book and they changed the ordinances through Christianity, through theology. That's how they did it. You understand? That's why our people today, when you talk about the commandments, they'll tell you, no, don't judge me. You understand? When you say keep the Sabbath day, they say, no, let no man judge you in meat and in drink. That's where they go. They also have precept to fight you to stay in lust and in sin. You understand? Go ahead.
And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die.
You see what they did? When our forefathers, you had our forefathers that kept the commandments of the Most High under the Greeks, and you had those that assimilated to Greek culture. So they didn't want to be put to death, so they followed Greek culture. But our forefathers that were put to death, they remained and kept the commandments till the death. That's what happened. So now, go back to Daniel, man. I just wanted to give an example of that, of what Daniel is explaining here regarding this fourth kingdom. Because the third kingdom is not so different from the fourth kingdom because it's the same race of people. Okay? So they practice the same things. Read that. Daniel 2 verse 41 again.
The book of Daniel chapter 2 verse 41. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron,
Read.
the kingdom shall be divided. But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron.
Read.
For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay.
He says the iron will be mixed with miry clay. Read.
And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay.
Read.
So the kingdom shall be partly strong.
That's it. Now he's giving you the sense in verse 43. So the kingdom shall be what?
So the kingdom shall be partly strong.
So the kingdom will be partly strong. Come on.
And partly broken.
Because of what? Assimilation. Because you'll have many nations come into that kingdom, and all of them must leave their own cultural practices that they came with and assimilate into the customs and traditions of the Greeks and Romans, the Greco-Roman Empire. Read.
And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men.
That's it right there. So he's giving you the answer. He says they're going to mingle themselves with the seed of men. That's the miry places thereof. That's the miry clay. So that's the nations coming in, mixing themselves with different cultures, but them being forced to assimilate into one culture, which is the customs and culture of the fourth kingdom, which is Rome, coming from the Greeks. Read.
But they shall not cleave one to the other.
He says, but they're not going to cleave one to another. Read.
Even as iron is not mixed with clay.
Even the iron is not mixed with clay. Although they are being forced to assimilate into Greek and Roman culture, he says they what? He says they're not going to cleave one to another. That's why you see that in during the time of like now, under Rome, under America today, which is the extension of ancient Rome, you have Palestinians go over there, they practice Islam. They get to America. Yeah, they do that. And the Americans, they are having a problem with that. So that's why they say no, but yes, they are following Islam practice, worshiping Allah. This is a terror cell. It's a terror group. So the CIA is busy in infiltrating and investigating the FBI and all of the giving them problems. They say no, these are terrorist groups. They are terrorist organization hiding under Allah and Islam. You even see they show it even in movies and series. You know why? Because it's true. You understand? It's true. I'm going a little bit ahead. Give me the book of Habakkuk. I'm going to show you that real quickly. The book of Habakkuk. Okay, Habakkuk chapter 2. The prophet Habakkuk, he talked about that. Habakkuk 2. Yeah, Habakkuk chapter 2. Read verse 4. Start there.
The book of Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
He's talking about the white man. He says his soul which is lifted up in him is not upright. He's not upright. That's what the Lord is telling you. You understand? He's not upright. Because you may be asking, but he's not saying that this is the white man. No, jump up to verse 1. Chapter 1 verse 6.
Yes, sir.
Read it.
The book of Habakkuk chapter 1 verse 6.
Listen good.
For lo, I raise up the Chaldeans.
He says, I raise up the Chaldeans. This is the Chaldeans. You may think this is talking about Nebuchadnezzar. It's not talking about Nebuchadnezzar. Okay? Go ahead.
That bitter and hasty nation,
That bitter and hasty nation, come on.
which shall march through the breadth of the land,
It says, these, the Chaldees, they will march through the breadth of the land. Come on.
to possess the dwelling places that are not
To
theirs.
possess the dwelling places that are not theirs. You know what this is talking about? Let's give me that in Ezra 5 and 12 to show you who the Chaldeans are. Yes, he's talking about Nebuchadnezzar, but he's talking about somebody else. It's a metaphor for somebody else here. Read it. Ezra 5 and 12.
The book of Ezra, chapter 5, verse 12. But after that our fathers had provoked the God of heaven unto wrath,
Read.
he gave them into the hand of
He
Nebuchadnezzar,
gave them into the hands of Nebuchadnezzar. Come on, this is around 606 BC. Okay, come on.
the king of Babylon,
The king of Babylon,
the Chaldean,
the Chaldean. The king of Babylon, the Chaldean. So this is Nebuchadnezzar, right? Go ahead.
who destroyed this house and carried the people away into Babylon.
That's when we became slaves under Babylon for 70 years. That were prophesied by Jeremiah, right? Okay, give me the book of Isaiah 13, verse 19. I'm going to show you what who Habakkuk is making reference to here. Listen good.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 13, verse 19.
Come on.
And Babylon, the glory of
And
kingdoms,
Babylon, the glory of kingdoms. Come on.
the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency.
You see what he's saying? He says, and Babylon, the what now?
And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms.
He says, Babylon was the glory of all the kingdoms on earth. But as we keep reading, he's going to tell, he's not talking about the Babylon of Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, come on.
The beauty of the Chaldees' excellency.
Listen good. So the Chaldees were the upper echelon during the time of when Nebuchadnezzar took power. The Chaldeans, those were the ones that were living better in the kingdom. You understand? Read.
Shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah.
Stop right there. How was Babylon destroyed? You remember Sodom and Gomorrah? Sodom and Gomorrah, Pella, it was fire and brimstone that came from the heavens. You understand that, right? The kingdom of Nebuchadnezzar was not destroyed by that. It was overtaken by the Persians. The Persians and the Medes, which we went over the other Sabbath. Persia and Media took over the kingdom of Babylon. Babylon was not destroyed the way Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed. So he's letting you know, he's not talking about the kingdom of Nebuchadnezzar here. He's talking about the daughter of Babylon. Give me Psalms 137. He's talking about the daughter of Babylon, not the Babylon of Nebuchadnezzar. So what Habakkuk is talking about, he's not talking about the Nebuchadnezzar. He's talking about spiritual Babylon. Psalms 137, verse 7 and 8.
Yes, sir. The book of Psalms, chapter 137, verse 7.
Read.
Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom.
He says, remember, O Lord, the children of Edom. Come on.
In the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it,
Destroy it,
even to the foundations thereof.
Because during the time when Nebuchadnezzar came against us, the Edomites helped Nebuchadnezzar to destroy the temple. They were helping them. Esau, Edom, was helping Nebuchadnezzar to destroy us. Nebuchadnezzar was like, okay, I'm fine. I took everything out of the temple. I took all their vessels of gold and silver and their spoons and everything. I took their precious things out of the temple. Then Esau was like, no. Burn it to the ground. You understand? So during the time of Nebuchadnezzar, our Bibles, Pella, were burned. That's why during the time of Persia, which took over after Babylon, that's where Ezra had to rewrite the first 5 books and the prophets, because they were burned. Ezra had to rewrite from the time of Genesis again, because the law was burned by Esau, helping Nebuchadnezzar to destroy us. You understand? Now read on.
O daughter of Babylon,
O daughter of Babylon,
who ought to be destroyed.
you see who Edom is? Edom is the daughter of Babylon. So when Isaiah is talking about the daughter of the Chaldees' excellency, was when Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed, is talking about the daughter of Babylon. The daughter of Babylon is Babylon the Great. It hasn't been destroyed. It's still standing. It's still today the glory of kingdoms. The greatest city on earth is not China. It's not Russia. There's only one city that is the greatest city on earth right now. It's not China. They say, no, China is the next superpower. No, no, no. That's not what God says. America is the greatest city on earth. You understand? Babylon the Great. The Lady of Kingdoms. You understand that? So, read on.
O daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed.
Who are to be destroyed. Because Babylon the Great must be destroyed. We're not going to take over the kingdom without Babylon the Great being destroyed. The same way Egypt was destroyed, that's how spiritual Egypt is going to get destroyed. Pharaoh was wiped out. So is America going to be done the same way? You understand? Read.
Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us.
Go ahead. Okay, come on.
Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones.
Because that's what they did when they took over. They were taking, you see our little children like this? They were grabbing them by the foot and hitting their heads against the stones when they took over. That's what Esau did when he took over during the time when the Portuguese took over. When Christopher Columbus went to North Central to South America, then Central America, then he went up to North America. They came around there, they found the tribe of Gad, the Native American Indians. They came with crosses to entice the tribe of Gad when they arrived there. The Jesuit priests, that's what they were doing. And that's all in the history books, by the way. During the age of discovery, that's what Columbus was doing. So they're going to get their just reward. Not yet. Because we have to raise up. We have to rise up. We have to stand up first and foremost. Okay, now go back. I don't want to digress. Go back to Habakkuk chapter 1 verse 6.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to show you that Habakkuk 2 is talking about not Nebuchadnezzar, but he's talking about spiritual Babylon, mystic Babylon. Habakkuk 1 and 6. Read that.
The book of Habakkuk chapter 1 verse 6.
Come on.
For lo, I raise up the
He
Chaldeans.
says, the Lord says, I'm going to raise up the Chaldeans. This is not Nebuchadnezzar. This is the fourth kingdom which is ruling today. Read.
That bitter and hasty nation.
That bitter and hasty nation, they are bitter because of what happened in Genesis 27. They are hasty because they have a short time on this earth. That's why they are moving quickly to deceive everyone, to take over everybody else's kingdom. Alexander Pella, his kingdom was less than 20 years. He took over everything. America is a small nation, man, 200 years old plus. They're ruling the whole earth. They have influence over all nations on earth right now. You understand? Look at China. China is building skyscrapers now. Where are they learning that stuff from? Because China wasn't there. China's infrastructure didn't look like that. But they have powerful influence even over China. You understand? Read.
That bitter and hasty nation, which shall march through the breadth of the land.
The breadth of the land is the continent now on this side of the earth, where we are. The breadth of the land, let's talk about North America, where the tribe of Gad was. Central America, where Naphtali, the children, the tribe of Naphtali are, and so forth. The tribe of Manasseh, the tribe of Ephraim, they are over there. Central America and all, Brazil, yes. Read.
To possess the dwelling places that are not theirs.
Because they took over America from the tribe of Gad. They said, this is ours now. This is ours. Okay, read.
They are terrible and dreadful.
They are terrible and dreadful. Come on.
Their judgment and their dignity shall proceed of themselves.
They're not going to care about nobody but themselves. Okay, so he's talking about them. So now jump down to chapter 2, verse 4 again.
The book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 4.
Read.
Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
He says, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. He was born that way. You understand? You can't change him. He is the way he is. That's how God made him. He's evil. He's not going to change. That's what the Lord is telling you. You don't have to believe, but that's what the Bible is saying. That's how he's made. You can't change him, man. Go ahead.
Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
Watch this.
But the just shall live by his faith.
The just shall live by his. Let's talk about us. Go ahead, verse 5. Listen good.
Yea, yea also, because he transgressed by wine.
You see how he sins? He's not talking about the when he says he also transgressed by wine. No, he's not talking about 4 cousins. What's the other one? Wine names out there. 4 cousins. What's the other one? Niederberg. Ne? He's not talking about wine. He's talking about lies here. Lies. When he says, he says he transgresseth by wine. Lies. That's what he uses to sin. Right?
He is proud. He is a proud man.
He is a proud man. Come on.
Neither keepeth at home.
This is the part I wanted to get to. Neither keepeth at home. Remember what Daniel the prophet said? He says that they will not leave one to another. You know why? Because when America comes, Daniel 8:25, when America comes into your country, look what's happening now in Burkina Faso. They used our own brother to speak evil of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, that he's using the gold to enrich himself. That thing is on record now. By America, is on record. So when now they wanna, that's why I think he's been neutralizing a lot of spies in Burkina Faso that are to overthrow the government right now under Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Who's sending all of those people? Because they say they have jihadists in Burkina Faso. Who's funding the jihadists? America is doing that. You understand? They are the ones that cause a civil war in the country. So that America comes as the superheroes. Dun, da, 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 we coming to save you. But they are the ones that are causing the civil war in the first place. That's why it says, neither keep it at home. Because when America helps you, there's a something that you must pay back. We're going to build a military base in your country. But you don't see America's, South Africa does not have a military base in the US. It doesn't. Burkina Faso does not have a military base in the US. You understand? But the other African countries, they do. America has military bases in those countries. You understand? Because when you look at Cote d'Ivoire, America is over there. Yeah, because Cote d'Ivoire, they are actually being, because this guy, this General Michael Langley, he is actually over there in Cote d'Ivoire. Because America is helping them militarily. So they have a military base in Cote d'Ivoire. You understand? So, but now they wanted to enter into Burkina Faso. They are being refused entrance. So they are using an Israelite to speak evil of his own people, to say, no, Captain Ibrahim Traoré is doing evil over there, when there's no record of that. You understand? So now read that again.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 25.
No, yeah, read that. Read.
And through his policy also.
Through his policy also. You know, when they talk about America's foreign policy, when you watch the news, they talk about America's foreign policy. That's what Daniel is explaining here. Rome had a policy, Greece had a policy, America has a policy today. We help you. Remember when, was it Goodluck Jonathan? He was the president. And when Obama was the president, they sent him over there to Nigeria. They said, listen, we're going to help you with ISIS. But if you want our help with ISIS, you must accept same-sex marriage in your country. Goodluck Jonathan was like, hell to the no. We are not doing that. Because they say, you are black, he's black, you go over there. Talk to your brother. Say, we're going to help you. And the other ones are finding ISIS. America is ISIS is an America-funded organization. ISIS. They make it seem like ISIS is an independent organization that's causing terror. No, it's funded by them. Because Nigeria has oil. What do they want over? Because they want the oil in Nigeria. You understand? So now you've got ECOWAS. Remember when Burkina Faso took over by Ibrahim Traoré, Mali joined. What's the other one? Niger. Niger and Mali, they joined. ECOWAS was ready to take the troops under the EU to send them over there to dismantle that. So who's running the AU? Not the EU, the AU. Who's running the AU? Because ECOWAS was ready to, under the AU, to go and send the troops to go and fight Captain Ibrahim Traoré. They were ready to do that. So who's funding the AU? By the way, it's America and the EU. They fund the AU, by the way. So that's why recently Captain Ibrahim Traoré, he went to the AU. He's like, but what is the point of this organization? Because now here we are, we've got the jihadists terrorizing African countries. What are you doing about it? Because you are doing nothing. You're not sending troops over there to assist, Nothing. You are quiet. What is the point of the AU? We don't see the point of the existence of the African Union. What is the point of it? It's useless. Because it is. You understand? Now read that, man. Finish that verse. No, finish verse 25. Come on.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 25.
Read.
And through his policy also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
That's it. That's the craft. You understand? We're going to help you in your country, but these are the policies that you must accept. That's why South Africa today, because South Africa, I think, is the third country in the world to accept same-sex relations. You understand? Is the third country on the continent also. They are the first. They are the third in the world. They are the first on the continent to do it. That's why they are being funded by the Europe. They are being funded by America. And when South Africa doesn't play ball, America comes and say, "Hey, listen, you see now you see what you're doing? We're gonna take away the funding now." They took the HIV and AIDS funding. Did they not? They did. You know who made sure they did it? The least of the flocks, Amalek. Because when they took Amalek to the ICJ, again they ruled against them. They say no, they're committing a genocide with the against the Palestinians. Then he went and spoke to Donald Trump, Benjamin Netanyahu. Guess what? As soon as the visit was done, a couple of weeks later, they're like, no, we're taking away funding from the HIV funding. We don't know, they are misusing funds. Quickly, this brother Barki Mashabela, that's his name, Prince Mashabela, you know him, ne? Prince Mashele. He's like, no, South Africa was wrong to take Amalek to the ICJ. I'm like, what's wrong with this brother? You understand? He is an enemy of our people, man. You know this educated idiot, he's educated but he's dumb as hell. You understand? Now finish that verse in Daniel 8:25, man.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 25.
Read.
And through his policy also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
Read.
And he shall magnify himself in his heart.
He's going to magnify himself in his heart. That's why they say, no, the dollar is the only currency you must trade with. This thing of de-dollarization, Donald Trump, he says, I'm going to make you pay. This BRICS business, I don't want this. That's why now he wants to dismantle working AGOA. AGOA is supposed to help the countries on the continent with their minerals they own. He's like, I'm getting involved up in there. Now America dictates which country on the continent must be part of the AGOA. I mean, that's crazy, right? Read.
And by peace shall destroy many.
You see how America destroyed? That's what Rome was doing. By peace, they destroy by peace. You may be asking, how do you use peace to destroy? Remember now, they create a civil war. First, they send an economic hitman. You know that book called The Economic Hitman by John Perkins? You can download his PDF, is online. He was explaining how, because he used to be an economic hitman. He'd be sent into the country to talk to the president, the powers that be. Listen, this is what we want. We want you to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Pass this policy in your country. Don't pass that policy. Allow this policy. Work with that country. And when the president is saying, no, I don't agree, they're like, oh, you don't agree? No problem. We're going to now send in a spy. A spy will come in. A spy will cause confusion. And guess what? If the spy does not succeed, guess what? They're going to use your own people against you. Then all of a sudden, there's a civil war. Because again, the economic hitman goes there to hit you economically, to deceive you economically. Look up the speech of 1996, what was when Thomas Sankara was speaking at the AU. It's in French, but there's English subtitles. He was speaking at the AU conference. I think it was in, was it 96 or 94? Somewhere there. Thomas Sankara's speech at the AU. So, they send an economic hitman into the country. If they don't succeed economically to say, listen, this is how you're going to set up things economically in the country, and the president refuses, they're like, okay, we're going to send an assassin. If the assassin does not succeed, they're going to send somebody next to you, which is what happened to Thomas Sankara, his best friend. If that doesn't work, they send in the military, like what happened with Saddam Hussein in Iraq in 2000, was it 2004? 2004, Iraq, yeah, around that time. And so what happens is that if that doesn't succeed, you know what they do? They cause a civil war. They're gonna fund the rebels in your country to terrorize the general populace. Then there's a civil war. People be toying and all of that. You see it's a coup. So then America comes and says there's a civil war in South Africa, there's a civil war in Cote d'Ivoire. Now we're gonna come to bring peace to Cote d'Ivoire, or we're gonna bring peace in Mozambique. We're gonna bring peace in the Congo. They say no, there's too much conflict in the Congo. People are dying and what? Who's causing all of this? America is causing all of this, man. So that's why it says, by peace shall destroy many. Because now he comes as the peacemaker, when he was the one that's instigating the whole thing. You understand? Now go back to Habakkuk, man. Habakkuk is explaining this. The same thing that Daniel is saying. Habakkuk is going into more details. Read that. Habakkuk 2 verse 4.
The book of Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
Read.
But the just shall live by his faith.
Come on.
Yea, also, because he transgressed by wine.
By lies. Read.
He is a proud man.
Esau is a proud man, because they say America is the greatest city on earth. And it's true. Because of the Most High. It's not because he's clever. No. The Most High prophesied, because it's prophesied in the Bible that America will be the greatest kingdom on earth. So it's not because they are the ones responsible for it. No, it's prophecy. Read.
Neither keep it at home.
Did you find the speech? Yeah, the shortest one is fine. Go ahead.
Who enlargeth his desire as hell.
You see what he does? He says he enlarges his desire as hell. So meaning what? His desire, because he comes into the country, because they have gold, they have minerals, he's going to enlarge his desire by causing hell in that country. Make sense? Right?
Who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death.
And he is as death. So he comes in, he takes over the country, steals the minerals, leaves the people impoverished. Now the country is like it's desolate. You understand? Right?
And cannot be satisfied.
They are not satisfied. That's why they keep causing wars on the continent, man. Right?
But gathereth unto him all nations.
But now you see what he does, ne? He goes to those countries to destroy them economically. When he's done, he steals all their resources, he takes them back to his own country. When he gets there, he says, come to America, there's a visa. Come to this, there's a visa, come to America, there's a Canadian visa, American visa, come. They now invite you, come to Europe, come to the UK. After they destroyed your country, they stole the resources, they now say they come to our country now. That's what Habakkuk is saying. Read.
And cannot be satisfied.
He's not satisfied. Read on.
But gathereth unto him all nations.
He gathered unto him all nations. That's what Rome was doing. Go ahead.
And heapeth unto him all people.
I'm going to show you that. I'm going to show you that. So you see that thing when he's saying, but they cannot cleave one to another, is because these people that he's gathering together unto his kingdom to follow his customs, they don't do it. There are those that become fully assimilated, but there are those that live like that they leave the Arab countries, they leave the East, meaning China, India and all that, they go to America. When they get there, it's like they become Chinese Americans. You've heard that, right? But no, I'm a Chinese American. What is that? You understand? I'm an Indian American. That's what you are hearing now. Because they are assimilating into American culture. But there are those that come with their customs from China, India, they still maintain them when they arrive there. These are the people that are going to cause problem for him. That's why it says the kingdom shall be partly strong, partly broken. Go ahead.
Shall not all these take up a parable against him?
He says these same people, they're going to take up a parable against him. They're going to turn on him. Read.
And a taunting proverb against him.
Watch this.
And say, woe to him that increaseth, woe to him that increaseth, that which is not his.
Because imagine, here you are, you live here. You know here, there's gold here. You go to the UK, the Queen has stacks of gold in their what is that? In their reserves. They've got gold. You remember there was even a video that was going around when they were showing the Queen taking them a tour in the UK where they were showing, where did they get it from? Because UK don't have no gold. So now here you are, you leave South Africa, you go to the UK, it's like, wait a minute. How about this is the gold that come from where I come from? So now he says, these people will say, woe to him that increases that which is not his. Because you get this, like, I bet these things don't belong to him. They stole them from over there. You know Lipton tea, ne? You know where the Lipton tea is taken from? Kenya. Kenya produces Lipton tea. But they say, no, this is a German tea. Because the leaves are taken from Kenya, they are shipped to Germany, they are processed and all of that packaged, then they are sold back to us. When you get to the shops, you go to Pick and Pay, there's Lipton tea. They say made in Germany. Made in Germany. But it was taken from Kenya. You see how this works? American Swiss, they sell jewelry, right? Where they get these diamonds from? The gold, the bronze, the platinum. Where are they getting it from? Because I know they don't have it. The Bible tells you Europe is a bottomless pit. There's no minerals over there. Where are they getting all this stuff from? They get them from here. So likewise, that's why you see the Arab nation, they don't bother them because they say, we will protect you. We just want access to this oil that you got. We will look after you. You see the people in Saudi Arabia, it's like they live like Americans. They've forgotten that their own brethren in Iraq, they are struggling. They don't care about that. Go ahead.
Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his.
Read.
How long? And to him that landeth himself with a thick clay.
With thick clay. Because guess what? You see, this is the people that are called culture vultures, this is them. They always disguise themselves. You'll never know that they are the devil the Bible speaks of. And they are. You understand? Did you find it? Play it. I think this is him. This is Sankaran. Listen good. The people online must see this thing also. Play the speech, man. Thomas Sankara was talking about the economics at the AU conference. And you had African leaders that was there. The way they were looking at that brother. Shortly after the speech, Thomas Sankara in 97 was assassinated because of that speech. Okay, play it. Is this on YouTube? Try the beginning of it maybe on YouTube. Let's see. Put a disclaimer on. Yeah, while he's looking for that, let's proceed. Daniel 2, verse 43. Let's move a little bit quick. I want to go to Revelation also. Find it, skip through it and listen to it and hear it, and then play it. Read that. Daniel 2, verse 43. Let's finish it up.
The book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 43.
Come on.
And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay.
Basically, the reason why we went to all those other verses was to give the sense of this verse 43. Go ahead.
They shall mingle themselves with the seed of man.
They shall mingle themselves with the seed of man. Go ahead.
But they shall not cleave one to another.
They're not going to cleave one to another because they're going to raise up when they're in that kingdom to say, wait a minute. This man is deceived us. Now we're no longer even following our own culture and traditions. We're following him. And all our minerals, they are over here. Read.
Even as iron is not mixed with clay.
And iron is not mixed with clay. They're not gonna get along. That's what he's saying. Daniel 8 verse 25 and 26 together.
Yes, sir. The book of Daniel chapter 8 verse 25.
Come on.
And through his policy also.
Through his policy also. Come on.
He shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
We went over this. Read.
And he shall magnify himself in his heart. And by peace shall destroy many.
Go ahead.
He shall also stand up against the prince of princes.
The prince of princes. Go ahead.
But he shall be broken without hand.
Because guess what? He says he's going to stand up against the prince of princes. This is the Messiah, man. But he's not going to win. He's not going to win, by the way. And Daniel explains this in Daniel 2 verse 44. Read that.
The book of Daniel chapter 2, verse 44.
Listen good.
And in the days of these kings,
And in the days of these kings, go ahead.
and in the days of these kings, shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom.
That's what's happening right now. The God of heaven is setting up a kingdom in their kingdom. His kingdom is being set up right now. That's why you see Israelites coming together, keeping God's commandments. Read.
Which shall never be destroyed.
We shall never be destroyed. Because our kingdom will be forever. It will never be destroyed. Read.
And the kingdom shall not be left to other people.
And the kingdom will not be left to other people. Because right now, you have the kingdoms of the earth ruling. They are left to other people, not us. But when our kingdom is set up, which is what's happening now, it says it will not be left to other people. It will be under the Messiah. Read.
But it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms.
And he's going to consume all the kingdoms of the earth. That's why Daniel in Daniel 7 verse 9, it explains that. It says, I beheld till the thrones were cast down and the Ancient of Days did sit. So he's talking about the destruction of the kingdoms of earth. That's the Lord's prayer. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. The Most High God's kingdom will not be set up and rule together with the other kingdoms that are ruling right now. The other kingdoms must be destroyed so that God's kingdom will rule them all. That's how the Lord's prayer, you better pray the Lord's prayer, man. The Lord's prayer is the prayer of vengeance. Understand that. You're praying for the kingdoms of the earth to be destroyed right now. Go ahead.
And it shall stand forever.
And it's going to stand forever. Now go back, read Daniel 8:26.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 26.
Read.
And the vision of the evening and the morning, which was told, is true.
Is what?
Is true.
Because guess what? All the kingdoms that Daniel prophesied about, they all rose. Some are still standing today. Some were destroyed aforetime. Some are living out their last final versions of the prophecies now. You understand? Before we get delivered.
Wherefore, shut thou up the vision.
It
for
says, shut up.
Yes, sir.
Shut thou up the vision. Meaning seal it.
Yes, sir. Wherefore, shut thou up the vision. For it shall be for many days.
Shall be for many days. Meaning the days will come when this vision will be opened unto us. We will understand what's going on. Now give me the book of Daniel 7 verse 25.
The book of Daniel.
By the way, this is the fourth kingdom. Read.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 25.
Listen good.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
So this fourth kingdom will speak great words against the Most High. Read.
And shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
When it says will wear out the saints of the Most High in captivity, are we not worn out as a people, man? We are worn out as a nation. Spiritually, mentally, physically, the nations have worn us out. That's why our people are hopeless, man. When we do flyer missions, we go to deep sloot, we are in there, deep in the... our people are hopeless. They have no hope. They're like, nothing. They're like, this, they're not going to change. This, our situation, that means this is how we're supposed to live, and that's it. They've given up on life. You understand? Go ahead.
And think to change times and laws.
You see what this fourth kingdom will do? They will think to change times and laws. So the times they've changed now, our people believe the new day begins after midnight. When the Bible says the day begins at evening. When the sun goes down is the beginning of a new day. He will change times and laws. He changed the laws because the laws of the land, we follow the laws of the land as long as the laws of the land conform with this Bible. But the laws of the land, as long as America is over you, funding you, the laws of the land will be what? Will be the spirit of Sodom and Gomorrah. That's what they'll push. We don't agree with that. If the laws of the land conflict with this Bible, we don't follow that. Read.
And shall think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time.
Go ahead.
But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion.
Meaning the dominion of the fourth kingdom which is ruling right now. Go ahead.
To consume and to destroy it unto the end.
Oh, praises. Now give me 1 Maccabees 8:1. You see in Daniel, it's not clear. Daniel is speaking in parables. In the book of the Maccabees, it's going to be very plain and simple to understand what we just read. You understand? Now read that. First Maccabees 8 and 1. This is in the Apocrypha.
Yes, sir.
First Maccabees 8 and 1. Listen good to this.
The first book of Maccabees, chapter 8, verse 1.
Come on.
Now Judas had heard of the fame of the Romans.
Now you see, now this is from 509 BC. Now 509 BC. Go ahead.
That they were mighty and valiant men.
It says the Roman. This is now when the Romans are taking over. He says they were mighty and valiant men. Come on.
And such as would lovingly accept all that joined themselves unto them.
Stop. Where did we just read this? We just read this in Daniel. He says they lovingly accept all those that join themselves unto them. Let's read Daniel 8. Daniel real quick. Daniel 2. Daniel chapter 2. Read verse 41.
The book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 41.
Listen good.
And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes,
The feet and toes,
part of potter's clay and part of iron,
part of potter's clay and part of iron. Come on.
the kingdom shall be
He
divided.
says the kingdom will be divided.
But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron.
That's military. Go ahead.
For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay.
As long as you, as much as you saw iron mixed with miry clay. Verse 43.
Verse 43. And whereas thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of
He
men.
says they will mingle themselves with the seed of men. They will lovingly accept all those that join themselves unto them. You understand? Read.
But they shall not cleave one to the other, even as iron is not mixed with clay.
Exactly. Because Rome accepted those that lovingly joined themselves unto them. Today, I'm jumping ahead. That's why today you hear they say America's allies. Meaning those that are friends of America. If you mess with them, you mess with America. So that's what that means. Go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Go back to 1 Maccabees 8.
The first book of Maccabees, chapter 8, verse 1.
Read.
Now Judas had heard of the fame of the Romans, that they were mighty and valiant men,
They were mighty and valiant men. Come on.
and such as would lovingly accept all that joined themselves unto them, and make a league of enmity
Meaning friendships. They made friendships. Go ahead.
with all that came unto them,
With all that came unto them. Read.
and that they were men of great valor. It was told him also of their wars and noble acts, which they had done among the Galatians.
The Galatians. Because they were taking, because remember, who were the Galatians? The Israelites scattered in Galatia. That's why you read about the book of the Galatians. Those were Israelites. Okay, come on.
And how they had conquered them and brought them under tribute.
They brought them under what?
And brought them under tribute.
Under tribute. Today is called colonial tax. We're still paying it, Pell. South Africa is still paying colonial tax, even unto this day. Right?
And what they had done in the country of Spain for the winning of the mines, of silver.
You see, they were also taking over their mines. What is that? That's why today you've got Anglo Platinum. Anglo Platinum, Anglo American. Those are not South Africans, Muslim. Quote unquote. No. Because that's what the Romans were doing. So today, the British, they were following the footsteps of their forefathers. The thing is, we didn't know where is that written in the history. It's written right here. Go ahead.
And what they had done in the country of Spain for the winning of the mines of silver and of gold,
Read.
which is there.
Exactly. Come on.
And that by their policy.
That's it. And by their policy. Agree they take over your mines. They dig the gold, the diamond, the platinum, the uranium, and so forth. Now they're going to set up policies regarding the gold they are mining out of your country. They say, no, we're going to build roads. You know, even here, you know what the exchange is? Give people jobs. So you come into my country, you mine my gold, and the only thing I'm benefiting from it is a job. Not that I'm owning the gold, but you do. Because, no, we have the capability of processing it. You don't. Because that's where they hit them. But when they went to build nuclear programs in China, China had a very clear program. He said, listen, you come to build a nuclear program here, no problem. 80% of the engineers will be from here. And we're giving you 5 years. They must learn everything you know, and after 5 years, you go. We will take it from there. Moab didn't play bell. We didn't do none of that stuff. The only thing now we're settling for now is a job. No, just give us jobs. People are unemployed. That's it. You understand? Read.
And by their policy and patience, they had conquered all the place,
They conquered all the place, God.
though it were very far from them.
Exactly. I mean, imagine. They come from the Caucasus Mountains of Georgia, Russia, all the way to Mzansi for sure. That's far. Read.
And the kings also that came against them from the uttermost part of the earth, till they had discomforted them,
They conquered them. Read.
and given them a great overthrow.
Exactly. Because another thing also, remember, Rome started as a republic. It was the Roman Republic, you understand? And it became the Roman Empire towards the end. You understand? Okay, come on. Under Julius Caesar. Read.
So that the rest did give them tribute every year. Apologies, sir.
He says, and given them a great overthrow. Go ahead.
And given them a great overthrow,
Read.
so that the rest did give them tribute every year.
Exactly. So that means that yearly you must pay colonial tax. I remember, I don't know which country it was, where they were saying, listen, if you want to kick all the white people out, the colonizers were demanding, no, I think it was in the US, whereby they were saying that they need to, because they conquered, I don't know which countries they conquered, and they said, no, because we want the country to be independent. They're like, okay, if you want them to be independent, you need to pay up all the money that you owe us from the time we conquered them until now. We want you to pay us for conquering you all these years. Do you hear the reasoning behind this? Yeah. Go ahead. No, jump down to verse 13.
Yes, sir. Verse 13. Also that whom they would help to a kingdom, those reign.
Stop right there. You hear what the Bible is saying? So it's saying, those that Rome helped to be in a kingdom, they ruled. Meaning what? On the continent, let's take it simple on the continent. What happened to our brother? No, not on the continent, because I know Haiti is now over there by the Dominican Republic. They're at the back foot. You remember what happened to Juvenal Moise? He was assassinated, Bell, because he was a rebel against America. They're like, we know, take him out. But you see today in South Africa, when the president like Ramaphosa, it's not because of your vote. Your vote don't mean nothing. You went on to cast the ballot and say, I'm voting for Tumamina. Oh no, you just wasted money, petrol, and pencil. Keep pencil. What did they use to vote? You just wasted all of that. They already knew that Ramaphosa was going to be the president. They already knew all that. Even in America, our people, because you remember when Obama was the president, they really thought that they had something to do with it. You telling me that our people were taken from here, they were taken to North America on slave ships. You get there as a slave. And the government that has taken your forefathers and enslaved them and make them work on plantations, sugarcane plantation, cotton and whatnot, they're gonna say, we're giving you the right to vote a government into power. That make any sense? That makes zero sense. Because your vote don't mean nothing. You understand? It was already, they already know that Ramaphosa was going to be the president. They already know that. So those who they helped to a kingdom, they ruled. And if they don't want you, they displace you. Keep reading is going to tell you that. Because that's how Rome ruled. That's how Rome moved. That's how America deals today. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. The first book of Maccabees, chapter 8, verse 13.
Read.
Also that whom, apologies, sir, chapter 7.
Chapter 8, verse 13. Yes, read that.
The first book of Maccabees, chapter 8, verse 13. Also that whom they would help to a kingdom, those reign.
Those reign. Go ahead.
And whom again they would, and whom again they displace.
Meaning what? They would displace you. They put sanctions in your country. They put embargoes. Or they, guess what? They take you out. They take you out. The same way they took out our brother, President Juvenal Moise. They took him out in Haiti. You understand? They took him out. The same way they took our forefather, Samora Machel. They took him out in Mozambique. You understand? They assassinated him. The same way they assassinated our forefather Thomas Sankara. That's exactly. Lumumba. The same thing. Kwame Nkrumah. They did this. Now he survived over 100 assassinations. What's Ibrahim Traore? Already. You understand? Steve Biko. What happened to our forefather Steve Biko? Because they took him out. You understand? They were beating him on the way. Basically, police brutality to death. You understand? Chris Hani. What happened to the killer? He is the killer, that Iroma that killed Chris Hani. Was he not? Was he what? He died. He was released. Ne? Was he released? Yes, he was. Because remember, we did a class about him. Ne? He's released now. He's walking the streets. They say no, he paid his debt to society. No. He took the life of our forefather Chris Hani. Why didn't he get the electric chair? Because he was supposed to get the electric chair. Because you know why? Whom they would help to a kingdom, those reign. If they don't like you, you get displaced. Either they're going to do a coup. If the coup doesn't work, they're going to use a civil war to put you under pressure so that the public say, no, we don't have water, we don't have electricity, we don't have food, we don't have jobs. See, the president is bad. Take him out. That's what happened to Msholozi. That's how it works. Because he wasn't playing ball when you got in there. Leon Pella is not like because he was so good he became. He was chosen to become one. Your vote don't mean nothing, man. That's what you need to understand. Your vote does not mean nothing, and I'm going to show you. Because you see this system of government that you see people in parliament discussing things, this comes from Greece. The Greeks, when Rome took over, swallowed them in, they became the Greco-Roman Empire. The Romans pushed that. So today is the same thing. Keep reading, he's going to show you that. Go ahead.
Finally, that they were greatly exalted. Yet for all this, none of them wore a crown.
Exactly, because when Rome put you in power, you didn't wear a crown. You reported to Rome. If you didn't play ball, they displaced you. Because this one is not doing what we want. Okay, come on.
Oh, was clothed in purple to be magnified thereby.
Because nobody was magnified except for them. That's why in verse 13 it says that they were greatly exalted. Read.
Moreover, how they had made for themselves a senate house.
A parliament. That's a senate house. A parliament. So Greece did that, Rome did that. So today, all the governments of the earth, that's what they do. They're following this blueprint. You understand? Read.
Wherein 320 men sat in council daily.
How many are there now today in parliament today? Is it 120 or something like that? How many are they? In Parliament of South Africa today, how many are they? But the number is not exactly the same number as how it was in Rome. But it's still the same thing what they did. It says how they what?
Moreover, how they had made for themselves a senate house.
A parliament house. Lutuli house as an example. Read.
Wherein 320 men sat in council daily.
They sat in council daily. What did they do?
Consulting always for the people.
Stop right there. Your vote matters. He said they consult always for the people. Meaning you don't know what the hell you're doing. You don't understand. We're going to tell you how you must be. Because of, you see what McG did when he said that thing that he said? They said, no, now we need to regulate podcasts now. Now they want to regulate the podcasters now because of it. And it's not because of it. It was just something that they've always wanted to do. Because they want to control the narrative. Because now with the boom of podcasters and influencers, they cannot control the narrative. People don't even watch Newsroom anymore, SABC. Because they push garbage, man. They don't tell the truth. You telling me this greatest news that Jesus is a black man, how come these news medias don't report this? How about this is the greatest news ever? But everybody quiet. You don't see no many going on here. There's many going on. But no, God is a black man. ENCA don't report because they won't. Because they are a media propaganda house. You understand? Go ahead.
To the end, they might be well ordered.
Exactly. So you don't have a voice, man. You don't have a voice. Read.
And that they committed to their government And that they committed their government to one man every year.
One man every year. So today in South Africa is one. Is every 4 years they select a president, right? They elect, they quote unquote elect a sitting president. Okay, come on.
And that they committed their government to one man every year,
Mm.
who ruled over all their country,
Mm.
and that all were obedient
Oh,
to
whoa, whoa, whoa. Who ruled all their what now?
who ruled all their countries.
Stop. So during the time of Rome, the sitting president that they elected, he ruled over all the countries that Rome had dominion over. So you telling me there's a president in, let's say, in Galatia. Rome has a sitting president. That president in Galatia has no say. If Rome has make the final decision, they have no say. So Rome was even ruling over the presidents of these countries that they ruled over. And during that time, Rome didn't rule the whole earth, by the way. During that time, it didn't. But the extension of it, it rules the whole planet Earth right now. That's why when a leader raises up like Captain Ibrahim Traore, they don't okay with that. He must follow their lead, and if he doesn't, we're going to take him out. We're going to assassinate his character through the media. When the people say he's bad, then when they kill him, everybody, the world will agree. But right now, the world is not in agreement. You see people are tweeting all over the continent about Captain Ibrahim Traore. It's not the same anymore. Things are changing. Go ahead.
And that they committed their government to one man every year,
Read.
who ruled over all their country, and that all were obedient to that one.
That's it. That all were obedient to that one. You see how the world works? And the Bible tells you all. They don't read this that's why in the Christian church they don't understand. Because they don't read these books, neither do they even want to. Because the white man told them, no, the Apocrypha is not part of the Bible. It's not canon. You telling me my history is irrelevant, because that's what they are saying. They are basically telling you your history is irrelevant. You know why they took this out of the book? Because it explains things up in here. Things that you have questions to, but you don't have the answers to. And because when you want to go look for answers, they say, no, that's not inspired of God. Who's telling you all this? The greatest thief on earth is telling you, no, this is not inspired. Go ahead.
And that there was neither envy nor emulation among them.
Because they were all controlled by that one sitting president. He controlled over all the earth. Now, Revelation chapter 12 verse 3.
Yes, sir.
I'm almost done because apparently there's a 4:30 session coming. What's the time now? What's the time? 8 minutes past 4. Hey, keep going. Revelation 12 and 3. Hey, did you find the video now? Play it. I want that speech. Man, this was a great forefather, man. Thomas Sankara.
Thomas Sankara, former leader of Burkina Faso.
You know what, ne? I'm not sure if the people online will see all that, but the network is slow.
Tried to convince his fellow African leaders not to pay their debts in an effort to force better negotiations with the European companies responsible for most of African nations' debt. In this passionate speech, Sankara wanted to create a united front against debt. In this speech, Thomas Sankara warned that he would not live to attend another meeting if Burkina Faso were alone in resisting its debt obligations. He was right. A few months later, he was murdered in a coup backed by France. This is one of the last speeches given by Thomas Sankara. I wanted to translate it into English to expand on this very relevant topic. Let me know what you think about what was said in the speech in the comments. If you want more of these types of videos, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Here is Thomas Sankara translated into English.
We believe that debt should first be analyzed in terms of its origins. The origins of the debt date back to the origins of colonialism. Those who lent us money are the same ones who colonized us. They are the same ones who managed our states and our economies. It is the colonizers who indebted Africa to the funders, their brothers and cousins. We were completely strangers to this debt, so we cannot pay it at all. Debt is indeed still neo-colonialism, where the colonizers have transformed into technical assistance. In fact, we should say that they have transformed into technical assassins. And it is they who have offered us sources of funding, internal donors, that we use every day as if there were men whose yawning was enough to create development in others. These funders have been advised and recommended to us. We were presented with enticing financial arrangements. Files. We are in debt for 50 years, 60 years, even more. That is, we have been led to compromise our peoples for 50 years and more. But debt, in its current form, is controlled and dominated by imperialism, a carefully organized reconquest, so that Africa, its growth, and its development adhere to levels and standards that are completely foreign to us, by ensuring that each of us becomes a financial slave. That is to say, a slave in every sense. To those who had the opportunity, the cunning, the deceit to place funds with us, with the obligation to repay. We are told to repay the debt. It is not a moral question. It is not a question of this supposed honor of repaying or not repaying. Mr. President, we listened to and applauded the Prime Minister of Norway when she spoke right here. She said, she who is European, that not all the debt can be repaid. The debt cannot be repaid. The debt cannot be repaid because, first of all, if we do not pay, our funders will not die. Let's be sure of that. On the other hand, if we pay, it is us who will die. Let us be sure of this as well. Those who brought us here, those who led us into debt, played like in a casino. As long as they were winning, there was no debate. Now that they have lost the game, they demand repayment from us.
Crisis. No, Mr. President. They played, they lost. That's the rule of the game. Life is an endless journey, constantly moving forward, evolving and adapting with each passing moment, never ceasing to progress. We cannot repay the...
Oh praises, Israel. Shalom Israel, Mosankras bless you all. So that's what happened to our people right there. That's what happened. As it says, they didn't like the speech. So when they didn't like the leader in that country, what they did is they assassinated you. You see, that's how after this speech, our forefather was put to death. So that's what they do. So Bumalema, when they're making speech, but they never get assassinated attempts, that tells you something about who they are in bed with. Read that in Baruch. Baruch 3 verse 9. Let's get that. So understand what's happening now. So we must raise up. That's why now we are raising up. Black men are raising up. You're seeing a different breed of black men right now. We are raising up to stand for our nation. Read that.
Yes, sir. The book of Baruch, chapter 3, verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity.
As we have found out, we are still in captivity today, paying colonial tax. Read.
Where thou wast scattered us for a reproach and a curse.
This is where we were scattered. Right now, we find ourselves in South Africa today. Read.
And to be subject to payments
We are subject to payments. That's what our forefather Sankara was talking about. That these colonizers come into the countries that we are scattered in, and they colonize us, they take our minerals, and now they borrow us the money that they have taken out of our lands, and they put us in debt. Read.
To be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers.
Remember, these are the sins. We are paying for the sins that we have committed. We are paying colonial tax today.
Apologies, sir. For we have, apologies, sir, I lost my bearing.
Reading from the start again. So understand that. So this is what our forefather Sankara was talking about. This is what he was addressing. That these colonizers that came and colonized us, now they have put us into debts. We are subject to payments. But these are our minerals. These are our resources. Read.
The book of Baruch chapter 3 verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity.
Read.
Where thou wast scattered us for a reproach and a curse.
Read.
And to be subject to payments.
Colonial tax, for instance. The debts that our forefather Sankara was talking about. Read.
According to all the iniquities of our fathers.
Let's not forget that. The reason why we find ourselves in these conditions is because of the sins that we have committed against the laws of God. Read.
Which departed from the Lord our God.
Read that again. Which departed from where?
Which departed from the Lord our God.
That's what happened to us. When we depart from the Lord our God, this is what's happening to us. Read on.
Hear, Israel.
Read.
The commandments of life.
We did not hear the commandments of life. That's why now we are subject to payments. That's why now we are scattered in foreign lands. That's why now we are under tribute. That's why now everything we do, we are under payment. You go and buy a carton of milk, you have to pay VAT. You go get your salaries, you have to pay tax. Everything you do, you want to buy a car, there's tax attached to it. They even divide it for you. This is the actual price, and this is the price with tax now. The actual price is 800, but after tax is 1,200. How? Read.
Hear, Israel, the commandments of life.
Come on.
Give ear to understand wisdom.
So we didn't give ear to understand wisdom. That if our forefather Moses warned us, that if we don't do this, this is where we're going to find ourselves. This is the curse that our forefather Moses was talking about. Get that in Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy 28, read verse 1.
Yes, sir.
Because that's why our forefather Baruch is warning us. That thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse. The curse is now we are subject to payments. Understand that, because we didn't want to keep the commandments. Read.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1.
Come on.
And it shall come to pass,
Read.
if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments,
Come on.
which I command thee this day,
Read.
that the Lord thy God will set thee on high, above all nations of the earth.
We didn't listen. So right now we are under tribute, we are subject to payments, we are under debt. It's not only the nation of Israel, even you as an individual. You look at your bank account right now, it's on a negative. You look at everything, your car, where you stay, the food you buy, you are covered with credit cards, because we did not follow this right here, what our forefather Moses warned us about. Jump down to verse 15.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass,
Read.
if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
That's why we are subject to payments today. This is the opposite of us not following the commandments of the Lord. Read.
To observe, to do all his commandments.
Come on.
And his statutes which I command thee this day.
The commandments of life. We didn't hear. Israel is us, Pella. Don't forget that. Read.
That all these curses shall
All
come.
this what?
That all these curses.
All this what?
That all these curses.
That's why our forefather Baruch said, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, to be subject to payment. Being subject to payment, the issue that our forefather Sankara was addressing, is part of the cases we find ourselves in because we have broken the laws of God. Read.
That all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Wherever we are, in Burkina Faso, that's what's happening today. In South Africa, that's what's happening today. In Niger, that's what's happening today. In Mali, that's what's happening today. We are subject to payments. Understand that. Oh, praise the Lord.
All praises to the Lord. All praises to the Most High, man. That is some good stuff that he was bringing out right there. You understand? Our forefather Thomas Sankara was assassinated because of that. Because he was explaining that the colonizers have completely deceived us. But because they were talking to our people that were covetous, that's why they took a deal that later on was going to destroy the nation. Because now we are paying for we are paying the debt of the deal that was made by covetous leaders of the past. So Thomas Sankara was addressing that because those leaders were covetous. Now the people are catching hell because of it. So, and that's where we are right now as a people. So we need the laws of God to come out of this mess that we're in. You understand? Give me that in the book of Haggai, just to speak on that. Haggai 1. Yeah. Because Haggai, he definitely touched on that. Yeah. Haggai chapter 1. Read verse 2.
Yes, sir. The book of Haggai, chapter 1, verse 2. Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying,
Come on.
these people say,
These people is talking about the children of Israel. Our people say, read.
the time is not come.
It says the time is not come. Come on.
The time, apologies, sir, the time that the Lord's house should be built.
You see, they are saying the time is not come that the Lord's house should be built. That's why when we meet our people on the street, we say, hey, we need to wake up our people, man. You see the work we're doing, we're supposed to do it as well. It's like, ish, not now, ish, not today, naki busy nyana something. And when we talk to others, we say, hey, man, is everything, do you think everything is okay based on us like, naki sharp, I don't need the flyer. Then I ask, I'm like, are you crazy? Do you see the conditions we're living in? What you mean when you are sharp? You are sharp. This is sharp to you, what you're looking at. He's like, I know, but I'm in the I'm like, what I'm doing right now, that's what you're supposed to do. Wake up your people, man. You understand? Jump down to verse 7.
Verse 7.
Mm-hmm.
Thus said the-
No. Keep reading. Verse 5. Come on.
Yes, sir. Verse 5. Now therefore, thus said the Lord of hosts,
Come on.
consider your ways.
The Lord says we must consider, we must examine ourselves. Because our ways are not in line with the ways of the Lord. That's why we are at the bottom. That's why we are poor. That's why we are broke. Read.
Ye have sown much,
He says you've sown much. Come on.
and bringeth in little.
But you bring in little. Here you are, you work 40 hours a week. 80, is it 160 hours a month? But guess what? You get paid, and then before you know it, the money is gone. You're waiting for the next month end. That's the life of an Israelite. Just because you come into this truth doesn't mean everything gonna be perfect, man. There's people that came into this truth, they left this truth because they were saying, I don't got no money anymore. They left this truth because they're like, yo, since I'm coming to this truth, things are bad. You look, but were things better when you were not? You're like, no. I'm like, but now you know the reason why things are bad. You didn't when you were out. Now that we're in the truth, we actually know what the problems are. Now we apply the laws of God to fix them. And it's not going to be overnight because you ask the Lord for something, the Lord don't answer your prayer. You know why? Because you asking for it, but you saying the prayer that I want this thing for my nation. The Lord knows, you lying. You don't ask him this because you want your nation to benefit. You want to benefit. I'm not going to give it to you now until you're ready. You understand? Go ahead.
Ye have sown much, but ye have sown much and bringeth in little.
But you bring in little. Come on.
Ye eat, but ye have not enough.
You eat, but you have not enough. So you know what? By the way, this is a parable, but on the surface of it, is talk about the fact that, listen, you're not satisfied with nothing. You know why? Because you're not eating the right food. This is the right food. You see, the minute this Bible was opened, I'm like, okay, I'm fine now. You go to the Christian church, because I used to be at Jehovah's Witness. I mean, that's when I was waking up. And I began to ask them, I'm like, yo, this verse, why aren't we reading it? They're like, no, that one is not inspired of God. That's when I started to have issues. Then this other time is like, no, the laws of God are done away with. Man, that thing really pinched my spirit. I'm like, I don't know the Bible, but I don't agree with that. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't know this book, but my God, I don't agree with that. How could you say the laws of God are completely gone? They are not done away with. I'm like, nah, I don't believe this. Something is going on here. But the point is, when you come in, you're still going to go through issues. Give me 2 Ezra 7 verse 18. Because the prophet Ezra, he explained this, by the way. You understand? In the Apocrypha. 2 Ezra chapter 7 verse 18. Because when you are in the world, obviously there's going to be struggles. But when you come into the truth, the struggles will be there, but you have the congregation behind you to assist you. That's the difference. You understand? That's when you realize that you're not alone. You understand? 2 Ezra chapter 7 verse 18. Listen good.
The second book of Ezra, chapter 7, verse 18.
Come on.
Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things.
It says the righteous are going to suffer straight things. So just because you come into this truth, it doesn't mean you're not going to go through problems, man. The Lord says you're going to suffer straight things. You must go through these hard things. Read.
And hope for wide.
And hope for wide, meaning the kingdom. Because the difference between our people in the truth and our people in the world is that our people don't know the end game. But we do. That's the difference. Read.
For they that have done wickedly,
Because they that have done wickedly, come on,
have suffered the straight things.
they're going to suffer straight things. They're going to go through trials. They're going to go through problems and affliction. Go ahead.
And yet shall not see the wide.
They're not going to see the kingdom. You see the difference? You say, no, urafu, utata, and whatnot. But you don't know the end game. But when you keep the commandments, the Lord open your spirit, you know what the end game is. The kingdom. Ruling nations on earth with a rod of iron. Okay, come on.
And he said unto me, there is no judge above God,
Read.
and none that had understanding above the highest.
Watch this.
For there be many that perish in this
It
life,
says many are going to perish in this life. Come on.
because they despise the law.
That's it. You see the problem? So when you hear the laws of God are done away with, you know that's madness. He says the many are going to, they perish, there be many that perish in this life because they despise the law of God. Come on.
Because they despise the law of God that is set before them.
That's it. You see what he's saying? Jump up to verse 17.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 17. Then answered I and said, O Lord that bearest rule, thou hast ordained in thy law that the righteous should inherit these things.
He says, you ordained in your law that the righteous should inherit these things, meaning living forever, ruling the nations, having power and dominion over all nations on earth. Read.
But that the ungodly should perish. Nevertheless, the righteous shall suffer straight things and hope for the wide.
And hope for wide. Come on.
And hope for wide. For they that have done wickedly have suffered the straight things, and yet shall not see the wide.
They're not going to see. They're going to be what? They're going to be swimming in a lake of fire. That is going to be caused by nuclear bombs, nuclear war, the day of doom that the Bible speaks of. Come on.
And he said unto me,
Is that it on that verse?
yes, sir.
Okay, now go back to Haggai. Haggai chapter 1. Read verse 6 now. He says, you've sown much.
The book of Haggai, chapter 1, verse 6.
Come on.
Ye have sown much and bring in little.
So you see, so our forefather Thomas Sankara was addressing the injustices that the colonizers did and are still doing, but the deals they made, our forefathers, the covetous forefathers of ours made deals with the colonizers because they wanted to fill their pockets. They didn't think about the nation as a whole. That was the problem. Go ahead.
Ye eat, but have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink.
You go to different places to look for fulfillment or to quench your thirst. You don't find it. You go to politics, you don't get fulfilled. You go to this church, you don't receive nothing. You go to that church until you are hit with the truth with a clap. Then you're like, whoa, I was looking for this. You okay? Come on.
Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages.
He that earneth wages, you get paid to end of the month. Whatever job you're doing, if you're an entrepreneur, it's fine. Go ahead.
Earneth wages to put into a bag with holes.
You put it into a bag with holes. The Lord says you earn, but the Lord says, I'm going to empty your pockets. As soon as you get the money will not be in your pocket. Go ahead.
Thus said the Lord of hosts.
Listen good.
Consider your ways.
You see what he's saying? Consider your ways. Because our ways are not good with the Most High. That's what he's saying. Come on.
Go up to the mountain and bring wood and build the house.
That's it. Because in verse 2, the people said, the time is not yet. The time is not time for the house of the Lord to be built. That's why people making excuses about that. Read.
And I will take pleasure in it. And I will be glorified, said the Lord.
The Most High God is giving us the answer of what we must do. Next verse.
Ye looked for much, and lo, it came to little.
He says, you looked for much. You're hoping that, this month things will be different. He says, lo, it came to little. The investor comes, America comes to invest in your country, like, yeah. You know, they be naming these big numbers, man. 100 billion, 150 billion. It was like, where did it go? Because when you look on the ground, what's going on with it? What happened to the 50 billion that was given by Teresa? Is that the name of the woman that came from the UK when Ramaphosa was the first term of Ramaphosa? I think they gave about 50 billion rands. What did he do? Nothing. We don't see the fruits of that 50 billion. The jury is still out on that. Right?
He looked for much, and lo, it came to little. And when he brought it home, I did blow upon it.
He says, when you brought the money home, I blew upon it. The Lord said, I'm the one emptying your pocket. I'm the one making you broke. Go ahead.
Why?
He's asking why. It's a question answer response here. Read.
Said the Lord of hosts, because of mine house, there is waste.
That's it. The Lord is giving you the answer. He says, because of my house, there is waste. That's why I'm blowing upon it. So now you could be asking, oh, like, but these pastors, how come they're rich? Because they worship Satan. They're not worshiping the God of heaven and earth. Because when you read Luke 4 and 6, it tells you where they get their riches from. He says, the riches, the kingdoms and the riches of them, if thou will fall down and worship me, all shall be thine. So where did they get their riches from? Who's blessing them? Satan is blessing them. You understand? Okay, come on.
And ye run every man unto his own house.
Because you know when he says you run every man to his own house, meaning what? You're not using the Bible to correct. Everybody doing their own thing. That's what the Lord is saying. Is that it on that? Okay, all praises. Now, Revelation 12 now, verse 3.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 3.
Come on.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven.
He says, there appeared another wonder in heaven.
And behold, a great red dragon.
A great red dragon. Go ahead.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns. And 7 crowns upon his head.
This is the same thing that Daniel was saying. John the Revelator is saying the same thing here. Read that again. Verse 3.
Of Revelation chapter 12 verse 3. There appeared another wonder in heaven.
This is not talking about somewhere in the sky here. This is rulership, kingdom. I'll give you an example of that. Get that in Lamentations real quick. When it says there appeared another wonder in heaven. Lamentations chapter 2 verse 1. Yeah, read it.
The book of Lamentations chapter 2 verse 1. How had the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his hanger?
Hold on. What's happening, brothers? Yeah, they're saying 4:30, but let's push it. Read it. Lamentations 2 and 1.
The book of Lamentations chapter 2 verse 1.
Read.
How had the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger.
The Lord covered us with a cloud of anger. Read.
And cast down from heaven.
He did what?
And cast down from heaven.
He cast down from heaven. He's not talking about somewhere in the sky up there. He says he cast down from heaven. Come on.
Unto the earth.
Unto the earth.
The beauty of Israel.
Go ahead.
And remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger.
So does it mean that the children of Israel, we were floating up there in the sky? No. We were in rulership until we were not. The Lord took us from heaven, meaning from rulership, and he brought us down into the earth. We went into captivity. We became slaves. So now when it says there appeared another wonder in heaven, it's not talking about in the sky. It's talking about in rulership. Okay? Go back to Revelation 12, verse 3 now.
The book of Revelation chapter 12 verse 3.
Read.
There appeared another wonder in heaven.
Meaning in rulership. Go ahead.
And behold, a great red dragon.
A great red dragon. Let's get the precept. Give me Genesis 25:25. Who's this great red dragon? This is a metaphor. Okay. It says, there appeared another wonder in rulership. A great red dragon.
The book of Genesis chapter 25 verse 25. And the first came out red.
This is now the birth of Jacob and Esau. Go ahead.
All over like an hairy garment.
Go ahead.
And they called his name Esau.
They called his name Esau. Read that again, verse 25.
The book of Genesis chapter 25 verse 25.
Read.
And the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau.
Hey, they must give us some time. We're finishing up. Where is it? Oh, who needs to pick him up? Not good. Not good. How long has it been offline? Let's establish when the audio was cut. When was it cut off? Sisters, rewind the class a little bit. Let's tell us. Is it streaming now, or it's not? When? When did it cut? Did we finish Genesis 25? Had we read Revelation 12? Did we finish Revelation 12? Okay, quickly. We need to recover that, otherwise the people must learn this. Come on. Are we back online? Okay, read it. Revelation 12 verse 3. Brothers and sisters, bear with us. Looks like the audio cut. Read it.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 3.
Come on.
And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon,
There appeared a great red dragon. Come on.
having 7 heads and 10 horns,
Having 7 heads and 10 horns. Read.
and 7 crowns upon his head.
Okay, that's it. Let's get the red dragon. Get Genesis 25:25 quickly. Quickly. Genesis 25:25.
The book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 25. And the first came out red all over, like an hairy garment, and they called his name
They
Esau.
called his name Esau. Come on, he was red and hairy when he came out.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob.
And his name was called Jacob. This is our forefather. Jump down to verse 30.
Verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage,
Come on.
for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom.
His name was called Edom, meaning red. Edom means red. Go back to Revelation 12 verse 3. The red dragon is making reference to Esau, Edom, a.k.a. the so-called white man. He is the red dragon. Okay, come on.
The book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 3.
Read.
There appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon,
This great red dragon is the white man. Come on.
having 7 heads and 10,
So-called. Read.
having 7 heads and 10 horns.
The 7 heads is the 7 empires of Esau, starting with the Greeks, Rome, Spain, France, Germany, Russia, and Great Britain. Read.
And 7 crowns upon his heads.
No. Having 7 heads and what now?
Having 7 heads and 10 horns.
The 10 horns is the EU, the European Union. Come on.
And 7 crowns upon his heads.
Their empire, their rulership. Okay, Revelation 13:1, quickly.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 1.
Read.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea.
This beast that rose up of the sea is the 4th kingdom on earth that Daniel was talking about. Go ahead.
Having 7 heads and 10 horns. And upon his horns 10 crowns.
Read.
And upon his heads the name of
The
blasphemy.
name of blasphemy. Now watch this. You see this empire right here now. Now this empire is talking about Rome. but Rome will get destroyed and Rome will return back in 1453 and the Renaissance. Read on.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
Because guess what? When you read the history of Alexander, he is referred to as a leopard. So the Greeks are part of this red dragon. Read.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear.
Because the bear represents the kingdom of Media and Persia. But in these last days, Russia is represented by a bear. So Russia is a part of this dragon, not the actual Persians and Medes. Read.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
Because the lion represented Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom, which is Babylon. But John the Revelator told you in Revelation 12 and 3 that the color of this beast is red. Okay? So guess what? Today, the symbol of the lion is represented by Great Britain. Great Britain is a part of this beast, of this dragon. Read.
And the dragon gave him his power.
And the dragon gave this red dragon the power he got. This dragon that gave this red dragon, or aka this white man, the power he gets is Satan. Luke 4 and 6, quickly. Come on.
The book of Luke, chapter 4, verse 6.
Read. Come on.
And the devil said unto him,
And the devil is unto Satan said unto him, come on.
all this power will I give you,
All this power will I give you, come on.
and the glory of them,
And the riches of them.
for it is delivered unto me, and whomsoever I will, I give it.
Okay, all praises. Okay, transition.